The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth pregame.
You ready? No debate, cause it's off. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, corner booth.
I see as well. Kate, I feel like I have not officially said this. I've tiptoed around it. Kate, will you marry me?
That's a Kev anymore. I won't do that to Kev anymore. We're new intro coming in 2022, by the way. 2024, actually. Sorry, that was from 2022 that we did that intro. Ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever the fuck you celebrate. Even to my pagan boys, shout out to my boy Mac. Happy winter solstice. It's the Korner Booth pregame. We are kicking off the Christmas season, of course. I got the tree in the background. I got my first Christmas gift of the year, actually, my Uncle Ed jersey. Shout out to my boy Maserati, who also does our Korner Booth intro, by the way, for hooking that up. We have a great show today. We got a couple of returning guests we haven't seen in a few weeks. We've been getting the usual high-low sports appearances. Tonight, we get some old friends joining us from the middle of somewhere in some state in the Midwest. The host of the Rising to the Occasion podcast, one of the many Sooners fans I happen to know as a friend, and one of my people I default to for college football knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, the always funny and founder of Mahler Bros, Josh Mahler.
How you doing, man? And by the way, I'm in the middle of 3 states technically, because I'm like right on the tri-state of Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota. So
I honestly feel like they don't really. They always talk about like the New Mexico, Utah, Arizona, and that little that's I completely forgot they all cross in one section. That's actually pretty interesting that you live right in that area.
Yeah, there's North Sioux City, which is up in South Dakota, and then there's Sioux City, which is in Iowa, which is where I am, and then there's South Sioux City, which is down in Nebraska. So it's like right there, all in one area. I've
learned something new about geography today. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Also joining us from the West Coast, not the best coast. I'm sorry, the East Coast is the best coast. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a suffering Giants fan, a semi-happy Warriors fan, and one of the top creators at Belly Up Sports this year. Ladies and gentlemen, my man Nate.
What's up, guys? How we doing? My apologies for the iPhone camera today.
Bro, listen, the Family Guy hoodie makes it work so much better.
I'm glad y'all can see that because I really don't know what you guys can see. This whole phone.
Listen, you straight, bro. We got you from the chest up. Honestly, this is not the worst camera angle I've gotten on the show. I will tell you a story about my man Mookie in about 30 seconds. Now it's looking like Mookie's body.
Exactly.
All right. And of course, you guys know my two amazing co-hosts, ladies and gentlemen, joining us from his basement in his soon-to-be former domain, the TikTok sensation, a long-suffering Jets fan, and the best hair on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Ordazzo.
Definitely got the hair part right and the Jets part right. You got it all right. But Josh, I got to know. So what do you? I know you're in Iowa. What do you do for fun in like South Dakota? Because I'm just watching Yellowstone right now, and I'm like, what do you do in Montana? But you just said South Dakota. And I got to know.
I mean, South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska are pretty much all kind of the same, other than the fact that when you go a little further north and west of South Dakota, there's like a lot of fun. You know, South Dakota is where you got the Mount Rushmore and mountains, and you get all kinds of fun snowboarding places and stuff like that. So I feel like you got a lot of winter sports you can get into, and we got top golf around here and stuff too. So, we get out and we have fun.
Also hunting, fishing.
Yeah. Hunting is amazing out here. That's one thing. One thing. Yeah. Fishing. There's a lot of good fishing spots too. I think South Dakota is one of my favorite places to go fishing. Walleye and trout and all kinds of fun stuff up there.
I'm going hunting for my first time this year. I'm very excited, and I'm going to catch the fever, Josh. At some point, I'll be probably crashing at your house, about to go hunting and some hunting grounds by you.
Let's do it.
All right, and of course, last but not least, joining late to the show. I swear to God, this guy, he gets promoted. He thinks he doesn't have to show up on deadlines anymore. It's okay. We love him anyway. My fellow Birds fan, a real estate wizard, and a man with a great beard always. Okay, it's just well chiseled. Ladies and gentlemen, the former intern, the Philly fanatic, the beer guzzling, yelling, screaming, and just all overall good time. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Lipoff.
How we doing, guys? Yeah, dude. So I usually send the stream to my email, and then that's how I'll log on. But I accidentally sent the YouTube live, and I was like, oh shit, now I'm late. But
Sure,
glad to be
blame
here.
technology. Look at this guy. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, it's all me tonight. My fault.
Listen, if you want to hear a funny story, well, I got two stories to share with you before we start getting to football. First one, Nate, Mookie, Matt remembers this. I think it was like his second show. Mookie joined the podcast almost blackout drunk and is on his phone. The connection in bumfuck Ohio, where he lives west of Cincinnati, is terrible. So it's this glitchy Megatron Transformers looking mess, along with the fact he's fucking hammered. So it was the greatest entrance and exit of a podcast of all time. So nothing will ever top that. And my technology story today is that I'm in the middle of setting up a decent deal with one of our vendors, and my CEO of my company asked me to set it up for him because they're all in they're all in management training, so they needed me to help them. So I'm happy to help, obviously, you know, it's part of my job description. So I'm emailing back and forth, and our director of ops calls me and goes, dude, you may have just forwarded our entire behind the scenes conversation to the client. I'm like, my laptop, by the way, was on the fritz all day. Chrome and everything was slow as shit on my work laptop. So I'm freaking out. I'm getting pissed. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, the last thing I need is to get freaking cussed out while everyone's in the middle of management training as I try to fix my charging cord because my laptop wasn't plugged in. And I'm sitting there. I'm like freaking out. And I go to the email and I'm like, dude, I just said you the email, not her. And he goes, oh, okay. Just looked that way from my end. I'm like, dude, do not give me that kind of a heart attack. I was freaking out for about like 30 minutes, but it was all good. But this is why technology, no matter how advanced it gets, always sucks, because regardless of what you end up doing, like you end up needing human element to it. So Nate, do not feel bad. Chris, do not feel bad. It's always could be worse. That being said, folks, I am very happy. This is a great week of all football in particular, but sports in general. I am a very blessed sports fan. My Hurricanes just flipped a 5-star recruit from the most annoying college in the state of Ohio. My Timberwolves have the best record in the Western Conference for the first time since I was 9 years old. That's horrifying to think about. And then, of course, you know, my Diamondbacks, we got Eugenio Suarez. Finally got ourselves an everyday third baseman who's not in a retirement home. Shout out to Evan Longoria. And, of course, my Philadelphia Eagles take on the San Francisco 49ers this week. So it should be a very fun game. That being said, College Football Championship Week is the main event this week. That is why I called Josh. The second I realized, I'm like, oh, I need a guest. Who knows college football that's not going to annoy the shit out of me this week? Josh won't. Got it. So
I'll make sure I annoy you then.
Buddy, I wouldn't expect anything less. That being said, you're the right balance of it, because I know certain Auburn and Alabama fans like to drive me fucking up a wall because they think their SEC shit don't stink, apparently.
Hey, I'm about to be in the SEC country now.
Oh, I know you guys are SEC country. Before I know it, we'll be SEC country.
SEC.
The second Miami gets to that contract, them in Florida State will be in the SEC. You can guarantee it.
SEC country, let's ride.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That being said, fellas, we'll go around the horn here to start us off. What game championship weekend? It could be as random as freaking it could be as random as the American Athletic Conference, that's still a thing, championship, or the Sun Belt. I don't care. What championship game has you the most excited this weekend? I'll start with Josh. Josh, what game has you you are glued to the TV for all 60 minutes?
Man, I don't know. It's a tough one because the SEC, I'll say the SEC because that one holds the most, I guess, consequences from it. So if Alabama wins, that causes a bunch of chaos because now you're talking about who gets in. If there's only one team, you got to choose between Alabama and Texas. But then I think the most fun one that I think is going to be just a blast to watch would be Pac-12. So I'll say SEC for the fact that it probably holds more weight. But the Pac-12 is going to be a really fun showdown between Oregon and Washington, number 2.
Oof, that's gonna be fun. I think I'm gonna go with Pac-12 as well, only because the last time I watched this game, me and Matt were at his birthday party, and the two of us were literally standing in the center of a bar, just staring at the television screen. We didn't care what was going on around us.
Yeah, we were literally in the only walkway that anybody
and
could
we
go
didn't
in
give
and
a
out of.
fuck. We were blocking. We're like, Michael Penix is driving. We have to stop. But yeah, no, it's Pac-12 to me. I mean, I still haven't made a pick for the SEC championship, which we are picking in literally 45 minutes. I still haven't made a pick yet. Usually before this show, Chris knows this, I generally have 90% of my picks made before I log on. Not today. I have about 2 picked, and one of them is my upset, and the other one is the game I just mentioned because I got to stick with my guns about Washington. That being said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing for the SEC. The ACC one has got me even more rattled because I don't trust this new backup for FSU yet. Also, Miami bias may also be affecting this pick. We're not sure yet. But Chris, I know that we are your new experience to college football. What championship game has you the most amped this weekend? Gambling wise, drinking wise, entertainment. What do you got for me?
I pretty much gamble on anything, and I'm a pure degenerate by heart.
Ladies varsity cricket. It's a true story.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm 25 leggers right up my alley. I'm going. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Georgia and Bama just because SEC, a lot of big names. I usually check out the SEC bowl games anyway, so yeah, I'll say Georgia and Bama.
Nice. And Matthew, what game got you the most amped right now?
I'm looking at that Pac-12 game, Oregon and Washington, two quarterbacks, projected to go possibly top 10 in the draft this coming year. Just looking to see if number 3 Washington can knock off Oregon again. We all know how I feel about Bo Nix and how I can never win with a bet on him. So I may hold off on this game betting wise because no matter if I go against or for Bo Nix, he just always screws me. I don't know. I'm looking at that Louisville, Florida State too. I like you. I'm not a big Florida State fan, obviously. So I'm looking to see if maybe Louisville can do a little upset on that game. But if I got to sit down and watch every second of the game, I'm looking at Michael Penix versus Bo Nix.
Fair. And Nate, last but not least, what do you got for me?
Look, I haven't watched a lot of college football this year, and that's bad. It's a bad thing, especially for me. So I think I should suffer and watch Michigan and Iowa because, I know Iowa's offense is bad, but I want to see how bad they really are because if the over under for points in the first half is 0.5, I think, or whatever the case may be, how bad can you be? And I know Michigan's great; they're likely gonna win it, but at the same time, it's I just want to see how Iowa's offense will be humiliated in this game. So just to give you
a little bit of an insight, last week I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in on it. The points total was sitting at 24.5. I was like, I'm going to hit the under. I hit the under, and they scored 23 points. Vice versa, my Sooners scored 114 total. So it was just seeing the two differences. Although I think this is going to be the first Iowa game that I'm probably going to hit the over on, just because I think that 34.5 total.
That's too damn low for Michigan.
I think Michigan can put points up on them. I think it's going to be a 30-6 kind of game at the very least.
I might take Michigan plus 20 just because I want to be that guy. I mean, last year championship weekend, I think I had a 5-game parlay going. I think Matt remembers this. I'm at a buddy's 40th birthday, and I literally am just watching on the scoreboard at the bar my parlay slip away because Kenny Pickett couldn't close it. Or not Kenny Pickett. Sam Hartman couldn't close it. And I was just sitting there like, you motherfucker. Betting on ACC football, I should know this by now. My boss at my day job, we have a running joke. He can never win with Kansas football. I can never win with an ACC team not named the Miami Hurricanes. So I should know never to bet on anything that's not green and orange from that conference. SEC, Pac-12, don't matter. I'll hit it. But the second I get the ACC involved, my bias kicks in, and I hate 80% of the teams in that conference. So this kind of just affects it. But I'm excited for this. I'm surprised nobody said the ACC title game because Louisville's not a bad squad by any stretch, and Florida State this backup, I'm excited to see what he does against a real team. I mean, listen, he beat Florida. I mean,
to be honest, too, Louisville has been that team. If you take out the Kentucky game, Louisville's been a team that everyone's overlooking and not realizing that this team is usually known for like Lamar Jackson days or Teddy Bridgewater days where they're just faster than you. That's not the case anymore. They outpower guys now. And so looking at this Louisville team, I feel like there's definitely an upset that could happen there. I'm just relying on Florida State's defense because if you look at their defense, the team struggled as a whole. They're down 15-14 going into the fourth quarter. And the defense just held up there and shut Florida down completely. And, Graham Mertz couldn't do anything through the air. ETN couldn't do anything on the ground. So seeing that Florida State defense, that's the reason why I'm just having a hard time seeing the upset there, because I don't really care how good your offense is if your defense is able to stick it up and be that tough.
You know what? I got to watch both teams back-to-back against my Hurricanes. Florida State broke our 4 or 5-star quarterback's forearm in half.
Yeah.
Louisville needed our 2 defensive backs to run into each other to beat us. That being said, one had Jordan Travis, one did not. This new guy, the new backup, I watched him for 15, 20 minutes against Florida. I'm like, uh-oh. He kind of scares me more than Travis did when Travis first came out. So it's kind of nice that they're getting him now. I don't think it's going to be a Joe Milton situation where, he's going to come in and just light it up in a bowl game. But I think Florida State, the biggest problem they have is that their schedule is okay at best. The best win they have is Matt and Chris's Tigers week 1. They almost lost to Miami, which was hilarious because that team, I don't know that Miami's I won't go into it. Anyway, they are a conundrum to me if I'm picking the Big Four, like the fourth of the playoff.
You take a really tough Florida State defense, though, and you go against Jake Plummer, who turns the ball over a lot. I think he's got over 10 interceptions this year.
And then on top of that, twice in the first 3 drives, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just seeing that as being the saving grace for Florida State, but I could be wrong because, like I said, Louisville's proven us wrong before. It was hard to say that they were going to beat Notre Dame as good as Notre Dame looked this year, and they pulled that one off.
It's odd to me, right? Because if we're really going to go down the horn, we're not going to. We'll pick ACC, we'll pick SEC, and we'll pick Pac-12 in about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, right? But what's so funny about the Big Ten championship game is that it's just it's kind of gives me the vibes of, you guys remember when the Giants were playing the Seahawks week 3 or 4, and the Seahawks just came off a big win against Detroit. I think on the show I said Giants Seahawks minus 21, right? I said something ridiculous and they hit. This is the same kind of vibe I'm getting, because as much as Iowa's offense has finally been given some electricity, it went from being a Pop Warner offense to a JV high school offense. Michigan is Michigan, man, and Blake Corum and the boys are going to run through them like a freaking runaway train. It's going to hurt. But that being said, the other game that we haven't really talked about is Oklahoma State and Texas. Josh's favorite school. So that being said, horns down all the way, obviously, because it's just fun to do. Do we give the Cowboys any shot against Texas? Texas kind of looking ahead, trying to see if they can maybe sneak in as the 4th seed if everything goes haywire shit up.
Not me. I'm saying, this year, since Oklahoma State makes it into the Big 12 championship game, because the Big 12 wants to change up their ruling, and I get it, the head-to-head matchup Oklahoma lost, you got to give it to them. So Oklahoma State goes in there, but it's kind of a screw the Big 12 kind of year for Oklahoma fans and Texas fans. So this is the only week you'll see me throwing horns up at all. I love throwing those horns down, but I'll cheer for Texas to even cover the spread.
There you go. All right. I mean, listen, I'll roll with Josh on this one because honestly, that was my thinking. The last time I bet against Oklahoma State, though, they fucked me. I had a perfect parlay that died with Mason, you and DJ Sooners, man. I was so upset. But that being said, most college teams only burned me once during the year, so unless your name is the Duke Blue Devils or North Carolina Tar Heels. Anyway, we're going to move on because we got a lot of NFL headlines to talk about. First off, a couple Eagles news, right? So Deshaun Jackson officially retired as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. As somebody who grew up loving him as one of my favorite athletes, one of my favorite moments as a child was obviously the Miracle at the Meadowlands or his touchdown against the Cardinals in the NFC title game as a rookie, or the Dallas Cowboys touchdown where he literally just smoked the entire defense and fell backwards in the end zone. I have thousands of great memories of Deshaun Jackson. One moment of heartbreak when Chip Kelly was a racist little prick and released him because he thought he had gang affiliations. Chip Kelly, go fuck yourself, disrespectfully.
That dude's a gardening gnome.
Oh, he actually, I think he's actually the villain in the third Gnomes movie that's coming out next year. Anyway, Deshaun Jackson retiring, holds the record for the most 60-plus touchdowns in the NFL. I think he has 23. The next closest Jerry is 20. Tied for the record with 80-plus yard touchdowns with 5, which is just fucking insane. Any thoughts, Deshaun Jackson? These are obviously our quick hits right now. We'll get to Chris. I know you want to say something because I know you are, of course, a fellow Eagles fan. So,
I don't think I've seen another receiver in my lifetime that was could. Ooh, he cut it. You want to go first? You can go first.
Oh shit. Yeah, sorry, dude. My connections is off today. Yeah, dude. I mean, growing up watching Djax has been awesome. I still remember the game where we came back. We were down like 4 touchdowns to the Giants. And then he had that punt return to score the game-winning touchdown. And then Monday Night Massacre against the Redskins, formerly known as the Commanders now. And then I think there was one where the funniest Djax moment, I think, was when he got that deep ball. I think it was against Dallas.
Yeah,
and
when he fell backwards
I don't think
against
he
the
completely crossed the end zone. The ball came out, and I think they called it a fumble, but I don't know. We've had so many good memories of Djax. He's a phenomenal deep threat. I'm sure going to miss him, but I'm glad he's retired as an Eagle.
I don't think I've ever seen a receiver as fast as him in my lifetime of being able to watch football. I mean, that guy could just go from 0 to 100 in like 0.2 seconds. Just definitely one of the most exciting slot receivers to watch in the game. It was like Darren Sproles with speed, but as a receiver, it was just insane. Just watching him play every week, especially in his prime with the Eagles, was just absolutely it's almost just like a treat to be able to watch that, and nobody wanted to cover that. So hoping that maybe down the road he does that whole 1-day contract thing, retires an Eagle, because I think he deserves that. Oh, he did it? Oh, perfect. Yeah. Well, he read my mind.
You know, when the Giants punter, Matt Dodge, I think, punted it to him instead of punting it out of bounds. Yeah, you know, I'll never forget that because I think that kind of took us out of a playoff spot when that happened. So good job to our punter. Yeah, it did, right? Okay, so yeah, so fuck our punter. Special teams, man, I tell you. And then I remember the Giants coach, like Tom Coughlin, yelling at our punter. Was like, "Why didn't you punt it out of bounds?" So, but yeah, you know, Deshaun Jackson always haunted the Giants whenever he was on the field. His speed, his ability to make big plays was just, you know, something that you don't see often. So it's nice to see him retire now, to have all those statistics racked up and the big plays that he's made in his career. And yeah, it's good to see him retire as an Eagle for sure, because he was, you know, that was his, you know, his home. Despite being on multiple teams throughout his career, Philadelphia will always be the place that he'll be remembered the most for sure.
Why I will always show love for the Rams is because the Rams gave him a Super Bowl ring, even though he only played on the team for 4 games. That made me very happy, and I was very appreciative because, I mean, it was the only shot because he stupidly signed with the Buccaneers over the Eagles, because the Eagles originally, this is a funny story, they wanted to pair him with Alshon Jeffrey. Torrey Smith was the backup idea on that 17 team. And when they offered him only, I think it was like $3 million less than Tampa, he took the Tampa, and then Philly goes on to win the Super Bowl. And I think it was an interview I saw. It was like one of his biggest regrets was not signing with Philly instead of Tampa. But, you know.
Yeah, I remember the video of like Jameis Winston saying he's going to eat the W, and then Djax is just looking at him like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah,
But
it's
bad move on his part.
you know what? Listen, we all can't be rocket scientists in this world, so you gotta feel some love for him. Josh, I know obviously you're probably indifferent about Deshaun Jackson, but any thoughts on one of the most explosive football players you've ever seen in your life?
No, he definitely is. I mean, the dude was. I had to look up his stats, and I was kind of surprised that he's only had 58 touchdowns because I feel like he's just a highlight machine. And he had over 11,000 receiving yards. The dude, he was an animal. And like Matt said, I don't know that you'll ever see another receiver that has the acceleration that he had. And I love watching DJ's different highlight videos and stuff like that because he's just full of them.
He's one of those dudes who is just like a different breed of human. And what makes me so happy watching him is just like, even till his last game in the NFL, he still could just smoke 80% of the corners in the NFL without even trying. Just straight off the block. So that was really cool. Speaking of guys who want to retire as an Eagle, officially, according to the one and only JJ Watt, as he's attempting his new job as a insider, as he's a part of the Pat McAfee show. I love the fact that he's joined the McAfee gang. I love him in that mix with AJ and the boys. So allegedly he has to sacrifice one game check, but is able to now leave, of course, with the he's able to leave and be a free agent. So me and Chris, being the Eagles fan lovers that we are, lost our shit immediately and we're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, he's coming home, because the Eagles have basically me and Josh playing tight end for them right now. So at this point, this would be great, right? So Zach Ertz wants to go contender, get a second ring. It makes way too much sense for him not to go, like to actually come to play for Philly. But obviously at this point, I'm not going to try to speculate because obviously, things happen. But either way, I am excited for the possibility of Zach Ertz putting on the 86 again in Midnight Green. That'd be cool.
You know, it's an interesting place for him to go to if he doesn't go back to the Eagles. I was just thinking of any contender that really doesn't have a tight end. I was thinking Miami Dolphins, Zach Ertz, Tua and Ertz. But at the same time, I don't really see Miami's offense really targeting the tight ends that much.
I was thinking the Ravens because Mark Andrews is out.
That's actually a very good idea, yeah. Isaiah Likely, 4 catches, 40 yards last week. Not that impressive. Yeah, they could go. That would be a good move. As long as he can stay healthy, he should have a similar role as Mark Andrews.
What cracks me up is that I understand why, like, it'd be such a Zach Ertz move to go not pick the Eagles, but something just in my gut feels like he's coming back, and it kind of makes me a little optimistic. I don't know, but that being said, finally we have on our last bit of news, Von Miller. Oh boy,
turned himself in too.
What a mess.
Jeez, he's turned himself in.
Yeah, I got that notification out before the show started. I believe he said he turned himself in.
Oh, Lord Almighty, dude! I can't, man. I can't with this shit. Didn't
he just come back?
He just came back. Nate is completely right. He just came back, and it's so just depressing.
Yeah, it sucks is that he turned himself in, so he's obviously guilty.
Oh yeah, he knows it.
Yeah, and that's I mean, facts is facts. That's definitely going to be something where I think the commissioner should or will give him some sort of suspension. So I don't think it's highly unlikely that maybe he misses anywhere from 3 to 6 games. I don't think it'll be 6, but they're soft. So
a worse week than Buffalo Bills fans.
Yeah.
Between the Jordan Phillips shit with Jason Kelsey and then the fans in the Philly, then the loss.
We all know how soft Roger Goodell is, so I'm sure it'll be like a 2 to 3 game suspension. He'll come back in time for the playoffs if they get to that point.
Domestic violence and whatever. Smoking weed, though. Yeah, you're going down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you placed a $20 parlay? Ooh, out for the year. Ooh, you punched your pregnant girlfriend? 3 games.
That's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, dude. League's so corrupt.
No fun league.
Yep.
Josh, Nate, any other comments on Mr. Miller?
No, it's just
I
crazy.
mean-
I don't know. It took me by surprise knowing that, you see this happen to guys, but I guess you just don't really realize, you don't think anything about it. And I guess things like this, they kind of make them more human too. I mean, they slip up and lose their cool, and that happens. And it sucks. And especially the fact that it was a pregnant woman too, that
Yeah, I was gonna say
he
the
did
P
that
word
too.
kind of makes it a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
as if Buffalo could get any worse, to be honest, because they're like, it's from football standpoint, Buffalo's like on the outside looking in, and this kind of makes it worse because they've lost about a lot of depth at linebacker. So yeah,
it's definitely a rough Buffalo Bills. I think what I had a theory on Tuesday, and me and Chris kind of went on a rant about it. I think the Bills, the only way they get better is if they get rid of McDermott and they kind of blow this thing up a little bit. And unfortunately, the way this week has been, and I feel like it's not going to stop. I mean, who does Buffalo play next week, by the way?
KC, I think. No, it's not KC. I was just reading the schedule. Hold on.
they have the Chiefs. No, you're right. They got the Chiefs. They have the Chiefs.
It is
No, I
the
thought-
Chiefs.
No, wait, they were bad this
Packers.
week then?
They're on the bye week. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they're on a
well,
bye.
they
Yeah, they got
can't.
Chiefs next
Well,
week.
guys, they can't lose this week.
They can't. They can't.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
then they get the Chiefs next week.
You could
And I
also
believe
flip
they
that
have
around and say
another
they
rough
can't
game
win this
after
week.
that. So
Dallas.
After the Chiefs, they got Dallas.
I think they
Yeah.
have Dallas the week after. They will probably play a rough game against Philly. So
Ooh, 2 weeks after Dallas, they got the Detroit Lions.
yeah, exactly. So like they may end up with a losing record, and I think McDoofus is finally going to get fired.
I mean,
I think this is it. I think Buffalo management has realized it's not Allen. Honestly, it probably was even Ken Dorsey's fault. It was fucking McDermott.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I honestly, as much as I love his guest appearances on the McAfee show, Bean is not that great of a GM either. He overpaid for a lot of aging stars, and now they're paying for it. They are the Kansas City. They are these Los Angeles Chargers of the East Coast. Talented quarterback, overpaid old guys on the defense. Boom. And a doofus head coach who smells his own shit too much.
yeah, when you supplement Joe Brady into that offense, looking at what he had in Carolina, and then you just see the immediate almost like resurrection of Josh Allen, where he's gotten as close to his old self with Brian Daboll as he's ever been in the last couple of years, and you're still dropping some games. I think you got to look. You know what? It wasn't the offensive coordinator. It's got to be the coach, because you saw the quarterback improve with this change, so it's not the quarterback anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's not a fun. This has just been a rough couple. This has been a rough season for Bills fans, man. Like, I think I picked them to be the number 2 team in the number 3. I think 4. I had Bengals higher. I had Bengals was 3. Chiefs was 2. I had the fucking Jets win the AFC. God damn it.
Well, say I had them winning the division, but look, for the record, obviously there's a certain somebody that was healthy.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's certain last piece of news. That's certain someone's practice window open today. So I mean,
yeah,
it's wild.
So to unpack that, his recent comments, he said he's going to see what he can do this week, and he's going to really push himself hard in the following week. He's aiming a Christmas Eve return, but he's not ruling out possibly coming back sooner. We have to be in some sort of contention for him to come back. He's not going to come back if we're 5-10 or 4-9. So what I transcribed and deciphered from all of this was, you got to beat Atlanta, which is a very winnable game. So you have to beat Atlanta. And so if you beat Atlanta, he's going to then push really hard the following week, which we then play the Texans. Win or lose against the Texans, it sounds like he's trying his best to come back for that Miami game on the 17th. So if you could beat the Falcons, if you can somehow do some damage to the Texans, because it's a rookie quarterback at the end of the day, but that's such a scary, fiery team. If you could beat both of them, I think he might come back for Miami. But if he wins one or the other, I think he comes back Christmas Eve. But if you lose both, he ain't coming back.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I think this Falcons team has hit their stride with Ritter back. And CJ Stroud's a man on a mission. That man is the new. He is trying to do what Andrew Luck couldn't do, which is make the playoffs as a rookie and not die behind his offensive line because he doesn't have a dipshit like Ryan Grigson as a GM. That being said, I would love to see Rodgers come back and play for a game, even if it's just for a game, and then just take the rest of the season off. That'd be cool because he could say, "Listen, I beat a Achilles tear in one season.
Yeah.
Fuck your science." But he'd say "fuck your science" for a whole other massive reason. But, gentlemen, it is that time. It is time for America's favorite game, my favorite game, and the game which encourages drinking and gambling. Ladies and gentlemen, presented by the amazing people at candidates.com. Promo code BELLYUP20 for 20% off. Amazing flavors like Arnold Palmer. They call it the Palmy because, copyrights and shit. We have my favorite, which is a Spearmint and Cool Mint. We have the Rippers Collection, which is a nice THCP, which is a very nice little compensator if you're not really feeling the CBD that day, and many other flavors, including ones with caffeine and melatonin. Candidates.com, great bunch of guys over there working with that company out of California, Nate State. And just go check them out. Whoop, no, wrong banner. Gotta love StreamYard. Did I delete? I did. It's going to say Holiday 9-pack. It's the 6-pack. I just, apparently it doesn't save when I want it to save. But yeah, Fish Pro Club Bud 20. So there we go. All right, we're started off. Pack 12. We're going to start around the horn here. Mr. Josh, Washington coming at 9.5-point favorites. How are we feeling?
Looking at the Pac 12, man, honestly, so I don't know because, and I think you have that one wrong. I think Oregon is the 9.5-point favorite. So, because that's kind of what shocked me.
No, that's right. You're right.
Yeah, so looking at it, I think because the reason why I knew that was because I looked at the spread on this and I'm thinking Washington should be the favorite. Ideally, they're undefeated. They beat Oregon the last time around, but Vegas did their research and they gave that favorite, which 9.5 may be too much. I'm not buying Oregon at 9.5. I might buy that down to like Oregon at 6.5. But ultimately, I think Washington covers that 9.5-point spread. I think it's going to be a really close game. I do think Oregon wins this game, though. Just looking at it, I think since that Washington game, you have seen a different Washington team. For one, you've seen a Washington team that has battled through a lot of really close games. And you've seen a Washington team that Michael Penix Jr. hasn't looked like the Heisman favorite anymore. And on the other side, Bo Nix absolutely looks like the Heisman favorite. And he's just been throwing absolute darts. He has only thrown 2 interceptions all season long. And if I remember right, I think he's at 50 touchdowns on the year. So, I mean, the dude is absolutely insane. We actually just released an episode today where we dropped our Heisman top 5, and Bo Nix is my top spot for that because of the way that Oregon has played. And their defense is the best defense in the Pac-12. And I think they slow Washington down just enough. And I think Oregon ends up pulling off I guess not really the upset because they're the favorites, but I think Oregon wins it, but I'm going to take Washington to cover that 9.5, 10-point spread.
All right. Nate.
I'm going to go Washington. I just think, look, they're going to cover the spread. I'm sure it's going to be a good game. We saw from the first game they played against each other. Washington won by 3. I love Michael Penix. I mean, it's not only because my Giants need someone like Michael Penix because the quarterback position in Big Blue is not very good, as we all know. And I love Bo Nix too. I know he has like the highest completion percentage, I believe, in college football as of right now. But I don't know. I believe in Penix, and I think the Huskies not only cover the spread, but also they get the win as well.
Plus, as a lefty too, I've got to stick with Nate a little bit too. I've got to root for lefties, man.
Yes, sir.
See, I feel like this is last year where Matt actually caught up and started taking ahead of me because every year at conference championship games, I bet with my heart instead of my gut, and it's what kills me. So that's why I'm picking last today and every single fucking game in college. Matthew, Oregon, Washington. Are you sticking with your dog Bo Nix?
Oh, it doesn't matter who I pick because he's gonna find a way to fuck me anyways. But so I'm gonna wrap
Exactly.
this
I need to know who to bet.
Yeah. You said you got to pick with your gut, not your heart, right?
I have to pick with my gut. You can pick with your heart all day, Bubba.
Well, my heart's telling me Washington, and as much of a magical year that Bo Nix is on statistically this year, I have a lot of belief in Michael Penix. I think he's a lot better of a quarterback than a lot of people give him. And the advantage is he already has that win over them before, and my heart is just telling me Washington. There's really nothing else to go with it, so I'm going to stick with the under. I'm going to go with the upset and take Washington over Oregon.
Well, and to add to it, to be honest and to be fair, Dan Lanning beat himself in that last matchup. I think if Dan Lanning doesn't go for it on, I think 3 or 4 different fourth downs that he really shouldn't have, taking 6 points. I know that he had 6 points available to him, and then towards the end of the game where he could have just easily punted the ball away and put Washington into a tough spot. I think Dan Lanning learned from his last matchup with Washington, and I think I think that's another reason why I'm kind of picking Oregon to win, but Washington to cover.
Josh, I fucking hate you, man. Oh, I'm picking the Ducks. Quack Attack. You know, it sucks because I love Michael Penix Jr. I'm like, Nate, I want them to fucking win. Like, if they win, I will not be that upset, even though I'm gonna have to buy Matt another piece of Jersey misery with the freaking Jets. But dude, Bo Nix has played in big games his entire career, man. Michael Penix's biggest game he's played in is what? Indiana taking on Michigan in the middle of the season. I never actually cracked a 6-pack, by the way. Uh-oh, I guess it's bad luck for everybody. Anyway, as I pour Einstock Olgrid Winter Ale by Icelandic Beer Company.
But man, I'm right there with you, man. I want Michael Penix to win the Heisman even. Like looking at him, I love Penix, and I think I love watching him play. The dude doesn't even have to run the ball. That's what's amazing. I'm pretty sure he's negative on rushing yards this year.
Which is crazy. Doesn't he run like an unofficial 40 time like a 4.6?
He's fast. He can run, but he's very smart because he's injury prone and he doesn't run. And that's what I love about him is that he knows how to get himself out of those tough situations.
There you go. You know what? I think I have a really weird scenario for you guys. Louisville wins. Bama beats Alabama. Bama loses by at least 2 touchdowns.
Man.
And let's say this game goes down to overtime. Do both teams make the Pac-12 championship? Both teams make the playoff?
No, I don't think 2 Pac-12 teams do. I think Ohio State's in above either of these.
But they don't even deserve it. They're not even their fucking. You know what? You're right, and that's the worst part about it. This is what I hate about the college football committee. This is why I'm so happy. I know all the Alabama fans are fucking bitter about this fucking 12-team playoff. I'm excited because both teams deserve to fucking make it over a schmuck like Ohio State because it's not going to keep the teams like Bama and Georgia out. It's going to keep those stupid teams like 2-loss Ohio State out.
I like top 8. Top 6, top 8, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't like 12. I feel like 12 opens it up too much.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, listen, I was okay with 8. 8 was the number I pitched to Kevin and the boys on the show when this first got announced. Kevin goes on a biblical rant cursing everyone's mothers and sons and daughters. So I'm just holding on for the ride at this point. But what cracks me about all of this is that we're now seeing, and I was talking to, once again, one of my coworkers today, who's a big college football fan. He was saying to me, he goes, listen, I wrote a paper about this in college about how the college football playoff, it just doesn't work. They need more. This is back when the BCS was still a thing. That's how old he is. He goes, I wrote a paper about how the BCS doesn't work. There needs to be an 8-team playoff. And I'm like, 18 would have been great. Or even 6, 2 guys get a bye. But I like the 12 because that means you're going to get the 4 best teams from the SEC, the 3 best teams from the Big 12, 2 good teams from the Big 10. Or no, I'm sorry, 4 teams from the Big 10, 3 or 4 teams from the SEC, 2 teams from the ACC, 1 of the non-power 5 guys, and 1 Big 12 guy. And honestly, it's going to be great. So I'm okay with it. That's just my thinking here.
Yeah, I like opening up parity.
All right. I am sorry because of my biblical rants I've gone on today. Who has not picked yet? I believe Chris. All right, Mr.
Yeah, that's
Chris.
me.
Are we riding together, or are you rolling with Matt? You gonna keep ditching me?
I am gonna roll with you this time, dude. It's simple. I need points. Yeah, I need points. I'm down. I think down 9. So a lot of these picks, I'm gonna have to go polar opposite of Matt just to catch up a little bit, gain some ground. So I'm gonna ride with the Ducks.
There we go. We're rolling with Bad Fathers Anonymous. What up, Bo Nix?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God! Shout out to Kevin and the boys from Bama Twitter for giving me that ammunition. All righty, we are rolling into our next game here. As I've actually started catching up when it comes to the banners. Josh caught me doing this before the show started, but SEC Championship. This is the updated line. Actually dropped by 0.5 already. Georgia 5.5 point favorites against Bama. Don't ask me why Bama's technically in the home slot. I don't get it either. But how you boys feeling about this? We'll start with Chris and work back to me. Chris, how you feeling, Georgia, Bama?
Dude, I really, 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 really want to pick Georgia for this. I do. I love the Philly Dogs. But I think I'm gonna go with the Roll Tide.
Ooh,
I just had to. What's up?
This counts as your upset pick, buddy. He's a neutral site.
Yep.
All right. There's Chris's upset pick right there. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. That's all I got. It's just a gut feeling, man. Weird gut feeling.
Fair enough. Mr. Dazzle.
I could go with Alabama and just ruin Chris's strategy and just start picking the same team as him whenever he picks first. But I'm going to stick with the number 1 ranked team here and take my pick as Georgia over Bama in this game. No real reason behind it. It's just, I don't completely trust Milrow.
Yeah, same thing. I'm gonna go with Georgia. Simple as that. No, and they're the number 1 team for a reason. That's kind of the only reasoning I got for this one. To be honest, I don't got anything else. Carson Beck is solid enough. Brock Bowers is back, I believe, from injury a couple games ago or so. Yeah, they're gonna succeed and look to three-peat again. So Georgia.
All right, and my sage counsel, Josh, how you going?
This has been one of the toughest ones for me to pick because I want to see the chaos that will happen if Bama wins. But looking at it, man, Georgia wins in every category, and it's crazy because they're just such a good team, and people doubt them because they pull it off real close against teams like Mizzou, and then this past week against Georgia Tech, barely beating Georgia Tech. But I think Georgia still finds a way to win this game, and I think they're ready to finally beat Nick Saban in the SEC championship game because I don't believe Kirby Smart's ever won the SEC championship game against Nick Saban. So, just knowing that how much rides on this game, and if Bama wins, it's going to cause so much chaos, which would be awesome, but I don't think it happens. I'm going to pick against Bama. I think Georgia wins and possibly even covers that spread of 5.5. So, I mean, just looking at Georgia, I think they're a more whole team. Jalen Milroe has been on fire really for a while now. He's been phenomenal, and I don't know what it was that turned on the Jets. I think that Tommy Rees and the offensive coordinator for Alabama, and the rest of the team, I think they finally figured out a way to play to Jalen Milroe's strengths, and it's been clicking for Alabama. But they're going to go against the best defense they have seen all season long, and I don't think Bama has quite enough behind it to be able to beat the Georgia Bulldogs. And Carson Beck also turned on the Jets, starting off his season just kind of mediocre. And finally, towards the midpoint of the season and on, he's really turned on the Jets and looked like a much better quarterback. I'm putting my faith in the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they pull it off and win the game.
What's crazy, and you hit it on the head with me, this is what the deciding factor was for me, is that I look at their last 5 games. They play a lot of similar opponents. And I look at Carson Beck's completion percentage. I look at the way they play offense, and they don't need big bomb plays or crazy scrambles. I believe Jalen Milroe is only a junior. Am I correct in that one?
I believe so.
Yeah, so he next year, oh god, Bama's winning the fuck. Bama might win the fucking chip if he stays and they keep a lot of their guys. Bama is going to be a threat next year with Milroe at quarterback because I think he's 1 year away from being a solid college football player. He's a good quarterback, and that throw against Auburn, holy hell, that was awesome. But I cannot, in good conscience, bet against the Dogs. It ain't because of my birds. My boys, N'Kobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and my new favorite player on the Eagles defense, Jalen Carter. It's because Kirby Smart and that defense has become a juggernaut. You have weapons on both sides of the ball, and Carson Beck is a better quarterback structurally in terms of not screwing his team over than Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe can make amazing plays, but I don't trust him not to turn the ball over. I don't trust him to make and hit consistent passes when his team needs to drive. I got to go with Georgia here. It's going to be close. I think Bama might actually cover. But I think this is going to come down to a field goal or like a last-second interception or something. This is going to be a 4-point game, and it's going to be wild. All right. And lastly, for college, we're going to my conference, the ACC. And by the way, boys, this is basically a pick'em, so there is no upset or gimmies on this one. So I will let you boys roll with this one. We'll go We'll go clockwise this time. Josh, Louisville, Florida State. How are we feeling?
I kind of gave this one away earlier. I'm surprised it's only a 1.5 point spread on this. I think Florida State wins. I think they cover the spread easily. I think they win by 10 points. And I'm giving it to Florida State because I just think their defense is that much better than Louisville. I think Louisville's been a really good team. The only thing that concerns me about Louisville pulling off the upset is the fact that they just now got whooped by an in-state rival in Kentucky. So I could see the upset coming. I just think Florida State's defense is too good. And seeing what they've got, I think Jake Plummer, he's just not a good quarterback, and I think that's going to hurt them in the long run. If he turns the ball over at all, I think Florida State capitalizes on it. I think it'll be a lower scoring game, but Florida State to win and cover that 1.5.
I will take the under on this game, but I am also, while putting this up and pointing to our Lord and Savior Uncle Ed's jersey, I am going to take the Seminoles. Because of three things. One, you made the point. Their defense is phenomenal. Two, their backup quarterback is better than Plummer. Plummer is terrible. They're only a good offense when you take the ball out of his hands. And lastly, it is 45 degrees game time temp in Charlotte. This game is going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty. And when I watched, I got to see both these teams back-to-back play the same Miami Hurricanes team. One with Tyler Van Dyke, one Emory Williams. Very similar quarterback styles of play. Florida State was able to hone in, rally the troops, and play good defense. Louisville needed freak accident plays to not get upset by Miami. Or else we would have like North Carolina or some other school in here instead of Louisville. Even though North Carolina's fumbled the bag. Anyway, that being said, give me Florida State here. They're going to win this thing. It's going to be ugly. Louisville might even cover. It might be a 1-point game kind of thing where somebody's going to miss an extra point. But Florida State, they're better coached. They have a better defense. And if I need somebody to make a stop, I actually can count on Florida State where Louisville needed lucky throws and guys running into each other to beat mediocre teams. So,
well, and one thing you compared the quarterbacks. Roadmaker hasn't turned the ball over, I don't think, and where Plummer does. And on top of that, Florida State still has Trey Benson and Jaheim Bell and Coleman. So I mean, Keon Coleman.
Yeah, they got weapons around them, and this kid's they knew Travis was leaving after this year anyway, so he's the heir apparent.
Yeah, they still have dudes on offense. So I think their offense will be just fine. I think they're able to turn it on, like you saw in the Florida game. And not only that, you can't really judge them too much in that Florida game because that was also a rivalry game that they were playing in. A lot of emotion going in on both sides. So craziness happens. That's the reason why I'm putting a lot of faith in Florida State.
You know what? I think Florida State's gonna be great. I think I don't think they're gonna finish in the top 4. If they do, it's a mistake because they're gonna get fucking killed.
Well,
But
to say that they don't deserve to be in just because they don't have a quarterback is ridiculous. Because how
no,
many times have we
no,
seen backup
no.
quarterbacks? No, I'm just saying.
Even
I
if
think that's
Jordan
what
Travis was healthy, they're like the 5th or 6th best team in the country.
I don't think
But
that's true. I mean, you look at their strength of schedule. I mean, they had a tough go around to get there. I mean, they still had to go through the entire ACC, including Clemson and Miami on a decently better year. And they started off the year with LSU. So I mean, I think they had
their
one of the
schedule isn't
best.
bad. I would take both Big Ten contenders. I would take both Pac-12 contenders over them, both SEC contenders over them.
I think they compete. I think they compete against any one of those.
Maybe I'll give them. I'll give you Ohio State. I'll give you Ohio State, but not Michigan, not Bama, not Georgia.
I think they compete really well against Michigan. I think if you had to pick one matchup, I think Michigan and Ohio State would be a really good matchup for Florida State.
Maybe I had to watch
with a healthy
so
Jordan
much
Travis.
here.
I totally believe so. But
yeah, with Jordan Travis, I would give them a puncher's chance, but it's not now. It's not fair to the people at home who are gonna have to watch them get absolutely fucking murked by Georgia. So that's the problem. Chris, Louisville, Florida State.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with Florida State as well. Yeah, I don't really have much about it, but again, just trying to catch up, trying to win this damn tournament.
Smart pick.
Well, smart pick. That is why I'm also going to stick with Florida State in this one. Like Josh was saying, they have a phenomenal defense, much better defense than Louisville. And as long as defense is on the field, it's going to be a winnable game for the Florida State. And I'd love to see that offense of Louisville take on that defense. And like you said, even with the backup being in, the plethora of weapons that he has, there should be no issue at all. So I'm going to stick with a favorite here and go with what I feel like is the safest option and take Florida State over Louisville.
Very nice. All right. Mr. Nate, finish us off here.
Yeah, go Florida State. I like Keon Coleman, Donnie Wilson, 2 receivers I like in terms of prospects my Giants should look at. So I'm going to go Florida State too. I mean, Tate Rodemaker, the Florida State quarterback, I mean, you can talk about him being a backup or whatever. He had experience against Florida, and that just gives him a game to warm up and kind of get used to being the starter. I guess if that makes sense. So, but I think my lack of knowledge of college football comes in here. Even if Florida State wins, is there like a chance that the Seminoles fall out of the playoff or no?
I think so, just based on how the committee treats, between the SEC, especially if Bama were to win. I don't know. I could see it for sure a shakeup where even an undefeated Florida State doesn't make it in, and I think that's pathetic.
So even if Bama at 8, they can jump Florida State even despite the Seminoles winning.
It's because it's Bama and it's because of the SEC.
And it's also just because you've got people, you've got human beings putting in their opinion over who the best team is rather than looking at what the paper tells you.
This is why I cannot wait for next year when it's just going to be the rankings. The 12 best teams go to the playoff.
Yeah.
There you go. But there you go. All right. Pro Bowl time. We get to put the big boys get big paychecks, even though honestly with NIL, it's not really true anymore. We're going to the Motor City Dan Campbell Bowl. For those who don't know, he played for both of these teams. That's why it's funny.
Coach for both these teams.
That is also true. I'm going with the Lions. They got to bounce back. They cannot lose to Dennis Allen and the Jamoke show. I swear to God, the Saints watching them play is like, it's like watching a bad episode of Always Sunny. Like, there's like a lot of amazing episodes of that show, but there's always a couple where I'm just like watching this drag, and I'll revisit. It's like watching a bad episode of a show has the potential to be good. So it's even more depressing. Like, the Saints have a lot of good players, but they're fucking terrible, and they just scrape by. It's like watching the middle episodes of season 3 of Ted Lasso. You're just disappointed and kind of pissed off about it. Even though, in my case, I love it because I despise the Saints. Give me the Lions, and they will cover. We're going to go with Chris here.
y- yeah, I think the bounce back from last week after that loss. I think this
All right,
would
he
be
took
There's
the
a picture.
Lions.
an easier choice for me. Yeah.
It's okay, buddy.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Connection's
you
all
now.
fucked, man.
It's all good, buddy.
Hold
I
All
enjoy the he had that little paused face on it for a minute. His mouth was wide open, eyes closed.
Need to take a screenshot of that one and use it.
There you go. There's our cover photo for Josh for this week.
I'm going with another safe one here. I feel like it's a no-brainer. I'm taking the Lions on this one. Actually, surprised the spread isn't any higher. Chris Olave is, I don't know if he's playing or not this week, but I don't think he's trending towards being in the right direction. I know Michael Thomas is on IR. Derek Carr's been up and down, injury wise, but just the Carr experiment in general has not been working for the Saints. And I've seen him put 300 plus yard games up with like no touchdowns, interceptions wise. And it's not working. I thought it was going to be a great fit for him, but I thought they're going to run away with the division. They're not. And the Lions, I think, are going to beat up on them. I think nobody's stopping that offense right now, not even the Saints defense. And so I'm going to go to the Lions on this one. I think Dan Campbell gets some sort of revenge on, not really revenge, obviously, but he gets a little he beats his former team he coached for pretty much. But I'll take the Lions in this one. I just don't know who you're going to throw to on the Saints outside of Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill.
I'm an idiot for believing that Derek Carr was going to propel the Saints to the top of the NFC South. I really believe.
I thought Baker Mayfield was going to
I'm here
propel
with
the
you.
Bucs. Okay, Nate, you're in fair company.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
alone, Nate.
Baker's been doing just fine, all right?
Dude, I said the Jets are going to win 12 games. Come on.
And there it is. They were my Super Bowl loser. Okay,
I believe he went from the Raiders, right? The Raiders mistreated him. He went to the Saints because he believed the Saints had a good defense, which they do, obviously. But the offense has, Matt just mentioned, Derek Carr can put up the crazy amount of passing yards, but have no touchdowns to pair up with it. If anything, he'll have an interception or two. I don't know. It's just the experiment hasn't worked. This offense has been subpar at best. The defense will have to carry them pretty much if they have any chance of winning this game, which they don't. I do believe the Lions are going to cover and win this one. Jared Goff, last week, they didn't get the win. The Lions did, but they bounced back. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of my favorite receivers in the league. He's been phenomenal, and as long as Goff gives them the ball 8, 9, 10 times a game, they're good. Plus the running game with Gibbs and Montgomery. Holy crap. Hell of a duo in the backfield too. And their defense is solid as well, led by Hutchinson. So going with the Lions.
there you go. All right, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is going to be a clean sweep across the board. I never really saw it with Derek Carr. I didn't think he was good with the Raiders. I didn't really see where he fit in with the Saints. I was hoping that something good could happen for him. But yeah, I never saw it, and it never really came to fruition. So I'm just going to go Lions. I think they cover the 4.5 point spread too.
All right. Yeah, there we go. So clean sweeper on the Lions here. Saints are terrible. Shout to our boy Cruz. And also that bitch boy who I have on 3 fantasy teams, Michael. I can only run slants Thomas. All right. 2 teams that have gotten really hot the past 4 weeks. Broncos and Texans. Now, if you told me this game was being the 6-pack back in September, I thought you were smoking something. But we love CJ Stroud in the show. This is a pro CJ Stroud show. Even back in draft time. We are also big fans of Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited. Broncos country. Let's ride. All right. That being said, as always, I make fun of that doofus and probably the biggest jackass to coach a football team, Sean Payton, Mr. Bounty Hunter himself. Can I just call him Boba Fett? Seriously. I feel like that'd be funnier. That being said, fellas, Texans open up at 3.5 point favorites at home. Basically, this game's a push. How we leaning? Matt, I'm putting you on the spot. Who you picking?
I'm riding with the Stroud wagon. I'm taking CJ Stroud and the Texans over the Broncos. Broncos have been playing very well as of late. I believe they just won like 5 straight. So this is going to be a very, very close, very tough fought game. I could even see this game being a game where the Broncos could cover and make it a 3-point or less game. But some of the things that we've been seeing CJ Stroud do this season. I mean, I know Jared and I, despite what many people say about what Jared was thinking, we all had CJ Stroud as the best quarterback in this draft. We all said we thought Bryce Young would be very good, but we thought CJ Stroud would be the best one of all. Mm-hmm. And it's fun watching him throw the ball to Tank Dell and to everybody else on that offense. I mean, like we broke it down before. He's got a bunch of wide receiver threes on that team, and Woods and Nico Collins and Noah Brown and Mechie and Tank Dell, which I know Tank Dell is obviously looking very well. It's just, he's in his second half of his rookie season. But there's no run game whatsoever, and it's just insane to see what he's got this team in position with just no weapons really at all. Like, imagine if this man had DeAndre Hopkins in his prime on that team right now. But other than that, what I'm trying to get at is I'm going to have the Texans over the Broncos in this game.
I will take the Texans as well. I'm sticking with my dog, CJ. There is no way in hell I'm picking Mr. Unlimited. Can't do it. I look at this Texans team, man. I think Tank Dell's a wide receiver 1. Nico Collins is kind of emerging as a decent 2. Noah Brown is a good 3. They got Brevin Jordan. It's not a bad roster. Now, for the love of Christ, can the ghost of Dameon Pierce please stand up? That's all I care about.
Fun fact about Dameon Pierce, I just traded him and Pat Fryermuth in a league, and I got Kenny Walker.
Yeah, who's also injured.
I know, but he'll come back next week.
Yeah. All right. That being said, as Ghost makes his first appearance of the show, do not hit that power button or I'm kicking your ass. That being said, I am going to take the Texans, obviously. Mr. Chris, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you guys. I'm gonna take the Texans. They lost last week to the Jags. I don't see them losing 2 home games in a row.
They lost by a kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still lost. Fortunately. I know. Broncos are red hot. They're bound to lose 1. I think this is going to be the one, so I'll take the Texans.
All right. Josh.
I want to throw it out there for all my Buckeye fans and a big old OH, but then they're still silent because they're still crying. I love CJ Stroud. I really do. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback, and I think he's got a lot going for him. He's going to be a great quarterback in the league, but I just see how hot the Broncos have gotten, and I think they've got something clicking over there. I'm going to pick the underdogs, and I think they're going to have a big game. And how about a little bit of shout out for my guy, Samaj P. Ryan, too. I think he's going to have he had one of the biggest games of his season, and I think they're finally figuring out when you feed him the ball, he's capable of doing something. And I just don't think a lot of teams realize that. There's a reason why he still holds the record in college for most rushing yards in a game with 427 yards. So I'm going to go with Samaj P. Ryan, Russell Wilson, and the boys. Bronco Nation, let's ride.
That's how you got to roll with it. All right. Mr. Nate, finish us strong, man.
Yes, sir. I'm going with Houston. I still don't believe in the Broncos. I'm sorry. Russell Wilson, I don't know. With him, when I see him, when I look at him and he does all these commercials and his Mr. Unlimited alter ego shit, I can't stand him. And I'll never forgive Sean Payne for what he said about Nathaniel Hackett. No, that's first of all what he said was fucked up. And let's face it.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Payne, Hackett didn't allow his defense to have 70 points scored on their ass this season.
That is true. Very good point.
I digress. But no, I'm gonna go with Houston. CJ Stroud, man. CJ Stroud is what I wish Daniel Jones was. To be able to work with wide receiver 2s and 3s, or who we thought were wide receivers 2s and 3s and 4s at the beginning of the season, and now CJ Stroud's making Tank Dell and Nico Collins and all these guys look good. That's what I wish Daniel Jones was, but I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So it sucks for me. But to make it short, Houston's gonna get the win on this one. If they cover and win and everything, and Denver's streak finally ends with this one.
I love it. All right, Josh, I guess you're getting it this week. You're the only lone wolf here.
I'll take the underdogs. Hey, somebody's got to break up the board. You can't just have a go clean sweep every time,
Listen, it's usually not like this, but the boys are getting a little squeamish today. Speaking of squeamish, Debo Samuel, talking a little too much about my boy James Bradbury. 40 Winers at the Eagles. America's game of the week this week. I am very excited for this game. This is also the title game. I also left 20 minutes to talk about this fucking game, or 15. So for those of you who don't know, I kind of saved this for the end because I wanted to talk about how we've heard nothing but Debo Samuel and Niners fans. Maybe it's because apparently TikTok likes to watch me suffer. I got put on Niners TikTok this week. Fucking brutal. They sound like bitter ex-girlfriends. I'm serious.
I mean, they always go back. I think for me, Debo kind of annoys me because, and from the contract issues to calling Bradbury trash. I mean, okay, you take away Debo's 2021. What has he done? The past so far, the past two.
I have
seasons,
my
right?
fantasy team, Nate. You don't have to remind me.
I apologize. I mean, I love Brandon Ayuk is obviously by far the Niners' best wide receiver. Debo Samuel, yeah, he's a gadget guy, running back, wide receiver, yada yada yada. He's only had 3 receiving touchdowns these past couple of seasons. Well, this season so far and last season, he only had 2. You can talk about his impact in the rushing attack, but that's pretty much McCaffrey's job, not his. So for him to call Bradbury trash is kind of too far because Bradbury's a pretty solid corner. Let's be honest here. The Eagles' corners are outstanding, whether it's Slay or Bradbury. Debo shouldn't be talking shit. I'm sorry, and I don't care if Purdy got hurt last and when they faced each other in the conference championship. Doesn't matter. Okay, you work with what you got. The Niners going to do that. You lost to the Eagles, even with Purdy in the game. They still probably would have lost because the Eagles were just freaking dominant offensively and defensively too. So they just got to look past that. I don't know why Debo keeps bringing it up or whatever. He's got to stop. He hasn't done shit. I'm sorry this season. So I know we're not making our picks yet, but based off what I said, I think we all know where I'm going with, and that's Philly.
Well, no, there you go. I mean, it's the whole Debo thing. It's just weird, man. It really is. By the way, kickoff between the Seahawks and Cowboys just started. That'll be our final little breakdown before we get out of here. Yeah, this game is gonna be interesting, but I'll let you guys finish. I'm gonna go last, obviously, because it's my show and I kind of want to bring us home here. Matthew, how you leaning here? Niners, Birds.
So how do you say it? I believe that the Eagles are going to win this game. However, I'm looking at this solely as a sports bettor right now. Why are the Niners 3-point favorites in Philly?
The line's 3 now.
The line is 3. So the Niners are favorited on the road against the 9-1. Is it, or is it 10-1?
10-1.
So the Niners are 3-point favorites on the road against the Eagles, who are 10-1. And pretty much everybody I think is healthy, and I think Goddard might be coming back. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. So this tells me I'm gonna cheat the system and I'm gonna put all of my money on the Birds money line because it is plus whatever right now. Why wouldn't we? That is free money. That is where Vegas gets you. Vegas wants you to put all of your money on the Eagles because this is a trap line and you are going to lose all your money. They are going to make a big profit because they are going to have the Niners win this game. For some reason, I don't know how it'll happen, how many points it's going to be by, but looking at this as a bettor, I'm taking the Niners to win this game.
Perfect. Nate, you're picked. Josh, you're picking. Go.
Man, I'm going to call for a big game for my man DeAndre Swift. I need him to have a really big game because I kind of need a win this week in fantasy football, and he's on both of my fantasy teams. And so just fantasy has not been kind to me in the belly up fantasy. Looking at
you're not the only one.
Killed, man. We're on a hot streak now, but me
and Jared are both so busy in our lives, like me with house and everything like that, and Jared with work and sales, that none of us even caught that Luke Musgrave was on, I think, IR last week, and he started in our tight end.
Won.
Oh, we still won. That's great.
We fucking won.
Well, and then I also think I have Devontae Smith in the belly up fantasy too, so maybe I can use him to have a big game. But on top of that, I got to go with my Oklahoma quarterback. And yes, you heard that right, Oklahoma quarterback Jalen Hurts. I got to ride with him, man. I love seeing the Eagles do well, and especially from all the flack that he got as a rookie coming in. And I think Vegas is trying to trick guys like Matt who think they know what Vegas is trying, and they're actually going to trick him into going with the Niners and then end up pulling it out from underneath his feet. And the Birds end up winning by 2 points, something crazy in a really tight matchup where they go down, kick a field goal to win the game or something. So I'm going to go Birds. I think it's going to be a close one just because they've been that way for I don't know how long now in the season, pretty much every one of their games. But the thing, Jalen even says it himself, they just find a way to win. And Jalen's a winner, man.
Goddamn winner. I'd follow that man into fucking battle anywhere. Chris, do I even have to ask?
No, you don't have to ask, but I'll do a little mini rant real quick. I'm just sick of hearing that Jalen and the Eagles need to prove this week or next week that they need to win in order to be a good team or a contender or Super Bowl threat when they beat the Dolphins, they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They beat the Bills. And if they beat the 49ers, is there going to be another question next week when they play Dallas? If they don't beat Dallas, are they not the contenders or are they pretenders? I'm just sick of the questioning factor. And honestly, Deebo Samuel doesn't bother me whatsoever. Like Nate said, he hasn't done shit since 2021, realistically. The fact he calls James Bradbury trash is just another slander word he can use. I don't really care. That dude doesn't.
Fantasy wise, he's trash. Let's be straight up. I think Nate already talked about this already.
Yeah, what is so if because I'm hearing all this Brock Purdy's elite, Brock Purdy's this, Brock Purdy's that, Brock Purdy's Jesus. If he shits the bed this week against Philly, are we going to ask the questions? Are the 49ers legit or are the 49ers bad?
They lose 3 straight, by the way. So that's another thing we got to talk about. But
yeah, I'm going to take the Birds. Go Birds. I hope we beat them by 50.
Nice. I'll let the under.
It's at
I'll let the
right
Philadelphia Eagles fans at the Philadelphia Museum of Art take this one. Yo, fuck the 49ers, man. I'm sick of this shit. I've been hearing this for 9-10 months now. Oh, Brock Purdy, this. Hassan Reddick, my dog from Temple, said it best. Line them up. Let's do it again. I love that this is turning into a rivalry. Because honestly, listen, the Cowboys, whatever. I just have to hear Skip Bayless' dumbass talk every week. But there is genuine hate between the 49ers and the Eagles, and that makes me happy. Give me the fucking Eagles my upset pick this week, man, because it technically qualifies. That's a 6-point swing.
Done that.
That being said, give me the fucking Birds as my upset pick. I'm rolling with my dog, Jalen Hurts. I will roll that man into any battlefield. Give me Hassan Reddick for at least a sack and a half. He owns that Niners D-line. And by the way, you want a prop bet, give me Brock Purdy for +1 picks. Seriously. I have a weird feeling this game's going to come down to some fuckery at the end, but I think the Eagles will win due to 3 reasons. 1, Josh said it best. Hurts finds ways to win. 2, Eagles have better receivers. 3, we're in their heads. And that's how it's going to come down to. Also, anybody else knows how I haven't made one joke about the most overrated coach in pro football, that is Kyle Shanahan. My man would not be anything more than a coordinator if it wasn't for his last name. He's not a good coach. He's a good offense, but he would have been fired if it was any other team he was on. He's not a good coach. He has a superstar roster of, honestly, if I built his roster looks like my Madden roster back from when I was in high school. We used to do the Madden fantasy draft leagues. That's what his roster looks like. Philadelphia's is good. It's really good. It's probably top 4, top 5. Everyone's like, oh, Philly's got a super team. It's not really. There's a bunch of, their defense is okay. It's not great in the back end, but it's okay, right? The Niners actually have a fucking all-star team on that team. They have 7 or 8 90 overalls if you want to take a Madden roster. And I don't care. Because we had Jalen fucking Hurts and the Batman crew. And listen, Deshaun Jackson's our honorary captain, babe. That's what we do. Take out favorites. Give me the fucking Birds. It's my upset pick. We're rolling in it, man.
I was gonna say it is definitely a crime that this game is not prime time.
That's what I'm saying. Packers and Chiefs on
Hey,
Prime.
listen, as long as it's on national fucking television, unlike that
That is true.
Cowboys game a few weeks ago, we're good. All right. Speaking of the Cowboys, they're already in the red zone. It's not a good sign for the Seahawks. Oosh. Around the horn. Anybody got the Seahawks winning tonight? Anybody?
Ooh, no, hell no.
I do.
No.
Listen, $1 gives me a
That
$4 payout. I'll run with that shit.
That sounds like an Eagle fan cheering against his rival.
Listen, I'm actually like, I think me and Chris crunched the numbers once. I'm like 7-2 or 3 on Thursday Night Football this year. I'm actually pretty good. I don't miss much. I missed twice in the last 3 weeks, but that was because of either fan bias or I don't count Thanksgiving, by the way. Thanksgiving fucking blows when it comes to betting, but I lose every year. But fellas, that brings us to the last part of the game. Nate and Josh, you can also participate as well in this one. How are you feeling? We're going to go to upsets and gimmies now as we roll out of here. You guys can obviously pick some upsets and gimmies you like this week. Me, Matt, and Chris. Matt, I believe you still have to pick an upset, but me and Chris.
No, I picked Washington over.
Oh, that's right. So we all just have to pick gimmies this week. So, Christopher, I'll start with you. Who's your gimme this week?
I'm going to take Michigan over Iowa.
You fucking asshole. I saw that coming, which is the worst part. Give me Texas over Oklahoma State.
That's what I was going to pick initially, but.
All right, Matt.
Do I got to pick something different than you guys?
Yes.
All right, well, I need a minute because you guys just literally took my
that's
number
why
one
we
and then
made
my
you go
backup.
last. You're in first place, so we went in order of seating.
I just didn't expect you guys to go 1-2 on my whole my backup plan and then my main plan. All right, well, I guess I don't really have too much to choose from. So,
you want some help, Matt?
I would love help.
How about Card Steelers? Take the Steelers.
That's
roll a gun guy. He's airmailed 3 or 4 gimmies.
I feel like that's a good gimme right there.
You just because Kenny Pickett. As long as he is there, I can't do it.
Would you take Bucks Panthers? I mean, I know that's not a super gimme, but
I was gonna stick with I was gonna stick with college and just pray and take Texas over Oklahoma State.
But you can't pick doubled up, Bubba.
What do you mean?
I took Texas over Oklahoma State.
Oh, man, I forgot you took my backup. Damn it. All right, fuck. I got to go to NFL now. This is when I'm going to lose my gimme. Because the only time I'm 0 for 2 with picking pros. Jesus. Fucking. Who remembers me picking fucking, what's his name? Matt Ryan and the Colts?
I do.
Yeah. Son of a gun. All right, where is this NFL games we got going on? Oh, there's the NFL tab. All right. A lot of amazing options here.
Just take
I'm taking Dolphins over
Cowboys
Commanders.
if you want. I don't fucking care.
No, I'm going to take Dolphins over Commanders.
Okay.
That would be one of my upset picks if I were to try to dig in the bag.
Josh, you were literally fucking with this kid's head right now. I fucking love it.
That was literally one of them that I was looking at man, that would be a fun upset pick. But
see, I'm only taking that as my gimme because I will feel very good if I lose that because being a Jets fan, I obviously want Miami to tank it. So either way, it's a moral win-win for me. It either helps me out for the long run or it just makes me feel good. Yeah, it just makes me feel good for
I don't
a couple
have
hours.
this as an upset, but I have it as a possible upset, as a cover.
I can see it being I can see them coming within 3 or 4.
Give me the Patriots to cover against the Chargers. Seriously, only 5.5, and it's Bill and the Chargers are coming to the East Coast for a 1:00 game. This screams Bill Belichick fuckery right here. Also, because it's Sunday Night Football and it's cold as piss out, give me the Packers to as a upset watch over the Chiefs.
I can weirdly see that.
Yeah, because they play the Bills. They play the Bills next week. They just played the who did they play last week? They played The Raiders, then play the Eagles. They've had a bunch of rivalry games back and forth, back and forth. Give me them to like kind of look past them because they got Buffalo next week, a desperate Bills team. But like the NFL this week is a lot of weird games that aren't really like upset games. So this is interesting.
Like the Jags and the Bengals would have been cool. Burrow was healthy,
But the line wouldn't have been 8.5, buddy. It would
It's
have
even
been like
supposed to be a
2.5.
chance of snow for that Packers Chiefs game. I just looked that up. Chance of
Ooh.
snow.
Ooh, AJ Dillon playing. Aaron Jones playing this week or no?
he was questionable. I'm actually gonna check that. I'm playing against them.
All right. Well,
Christian Watt's been in stride as of late, so it could be a lot closer than we think. But I'm still not buying it on the Packers hype right now.
They didn't play today, him and AJ Dillon. So,
all right.
No,
Nate, you've been kind of quiet. You got any upsets or gimmies for us before we head out of here?
Yeah, I was looking at the slate too. I wasn't really prepared. I was looking at the slate. Plus, like I said, my phone sucks. Laptop sucks. So I have to like look it up real quick.
College life, brother, it happens.
I hate it, man. I hate it. But give me the Chiefs over Packers for the gimme upset. For the upset, I'm gonna go Panthers over the Bucks. Bucks favored by 5.5, but the Panthers just fired Frank Wright, so maybe this could be the game where Bryson kind of turns it up. It turns it up. I believe in Bryson.
In my pick'em pool this week, I had them. I took them to cover. I said, "Listen, Panthers are gonna make this fucking close." And the fucking ears, they can't get out of their own fucking way, man. I'm done with them. They destroyed my parlays last week with that loss to the Colts. The Bucks are dead to me. I love Baker, but they're fucking dead to me. Once I traded Rashad White away, Baker was their only saving grace, and he's on thin ice with me. But
I acquired him like 4 weeks ago. That was great.
He's like my backup on one team now. I've basically just jettisoned him to the nether regions. I grabbed CJ Stroud.
I grabbed CJ Stroud in one. All of my QBs got injured, and I was like, well, nobody's going to take Baker, so I guess I'll pick him up. And I put Will Levis in the one good week he had, and he was great. But I was like, all right, I got to get him out of here because that's not going to happen again.
Well, the belly up league, we have people hoarding fucking quarterbacks. Some rosters have 3 guys. I'm like, you fucking scumbags. Hey, Josh, I'm going to propose a league change for next year. Can we please, for the love of Christ, put a quarterback limit? Because that was kind of a dick move. Certain players in our league hoarding quarterbacks. So when me and Matt had to start Zach Wilson 1 week, we still fucking won't, which is hilarious. But like,
Zach is the man.
Also, by the way, some of these dudes are like sweaties with fantasy football. It got a little not fun because I'm like, these dudes literally try to act like this is their profession. But like y'all doing some Ruxin shit, man. Like hoarding quarterbacks, dropping defenses. Like y'all are like, I was going through the free agency I was on the can at work today. I was like, oh my god, y'all really on some scum shit, huh? But
I feel like
okay.
we're gonna have to lower down some of the rosters too, just because there's nobody in the waivers for the most part.
I grabbed Miles Sanders as a backup running back at this point. I'm just like kind of stretching at straws here.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
This is tough league. I've never been. Funny is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying, what's funny is that so for my job, there's a lot of times where I work a third shift. So I'll work my 7 to 3:30. I'll go home for about 5-6 hours. I'll go back out to work around 10 or 11. And I'll come back home around 4 a.m. Get back up at 7. Start the day again. So there's a lot of times where during the week, and it's always like Tuesday night when the waivers are going to switch over into Wednesday and you're going to see who you got. So every Tuesday I've been working and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I wonder who we got. And I look and it says, oh, team Nate something made a move. Nate something made a move. Nate something made a move. I'm like, does this guy just like stay up until 3 a.m. every single freaking week? And it's just like, I'm going to pick all these people up that I didn't get off the roster. And then you come on the show and I realize you're from California. I had no idea. So then this all makes sense because we're 3 hours behind when I'm like, wow, this guy's up when I'm up. This is kind of cool. And then I realized, no, it's just normal time where he lives. It's not 3 a.m.
Regardless of who I get, like I'm still 3-8, so it has made no difference. Like this league is just extremely tough.
Yeah,
like I don't understand what's going on with this league.
This guy.
Like, the problem is unfortunately, Josh and Chase brought a couple sweaties in, and these dudes are just insane.
I mean, they're belly up guys.
They get up, dude. They're up at waiver wire at like 4 a.m. making moves. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, in one league I'm in, I had a guy message me and he was like, "Hey man, are you interested in dealing Pat Fryermuth?" He's like, "I sent you a trade." He's like, "But it's just to test the waters out, just to see if you're even interested." I was like,
the
"Dude,
eye test guys. That's probably who you're talking about, man. They are pros at this. Like they could do this for a living.
yeah." And I'm like, "Listen, buddy, I'm 2-10. I don't even know I don't know what you sent me, but like I'll accept it." And he's like, "Well, I just want to make sure it's fair." Like, dude, I was like, "I'm 2-10. I don't care if you want, fucking Josh Jacobs.
Yo,
What am I
listen,
gonna
like,
do with him?"
me and Matt are in DJ and Kelsey's friendly.
Oh.
I got the first overall pick. I got JJ. JJ's been out since week 6, and yeah, I'm still in 3rd place. I'm like, the fuck happened?
Ooh, what happened, Chris?
DK Metcalf, 60-yard touchdown.
Wow.
75. It might have been 75 yards.
That hits
70?
2 numbers in my parlay already. Let's go.
I don't know what yard line they were at, but I think you ran like 50 yards. I just looked up and
Love it.
they're at the
love
I think it was 75. They're at the 25.
Go
Yep.
see chickens.
Wow, that was a dart. I don't know
I
how
think
we
I
got
had
that.
him.
See chickens, the seagulls, the Seahawks. You got to
I
work
had
your
him
way
50
back up.
plus in one of my big parlays too. So hopefully
Oh.
he keeps on
All right.
hitting hard. Second one, $650 tonight, boys.
All right, we're doing outros. We're getting out of here because I'm fucking starving and I need to hit the can. So here we go. Josh, where can we find your amazing content?
You can find everything that we do over at rising2.com. That is risingto.com. We're over on Rising to the Occasion YouTube page. You can find us over there and everything that we do. We release a show most Tuesdays and Thursdays whenever we can. And then during the college football season, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got our college football pick'em show. So join us over there.
Here you go. Mr. Nate, where can we find your content and your amazing Peter Griffin hoodie?
Yes, sir. But I got this from LA like 2 weeks ago. It was like a Family Guy thing, but that's not the point. You can find my podcast I host with my guy Brian from Belly Up Sports, Backup to the Backup podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We just renamed it because I was a 3rd string running back in corner in high school, so I thought it made sense. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Nathan_Nguyen24 for everything in regards to that. So yeah.
There you go. All right, you can find me and these two goons, Chris and Matt, at All Things Corner Booth Pod. Me and Chris run the Twitter. Matt Lone Wolf's the TikTok until I get my ass logged in there again. Me and Matt Combo run the Instagram. And, of course, you can find me at Belly Up Jared on Twitter or X because Elon's a dick about rule changes. You can find Matt at Big Wisp on X. You can find me and him at Corner Booth Jared and Corner Booth Matt, respectively. Chris, he's an anomaly. He just runs the Twitter account. He's a ghost.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a ghost.
All right, there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming by. Corner Booth Podcast. Shout out to our sponsors, Mauler Bros, Candidips, SeatGeek, and Belly Up Media. We will see you guys on Monday for another edition of the Corner Booth Podcast. We will do live on YouTube as we always do. And obviously next Thursday. By the way, check out and look out for our Belly Up Christmas Party, the 5th annual Belly Up Christmas Party, Corner Booth Christmas Party. That is live on December 21st. A couple special guests. We're doing gift card giveaways. It's going to be a fun time. Make sure you stop in. We appreciate you coming through. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some great football. Go Birds. And, yeah. Deuces.